My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC Paris fight card. I'm going to give you my picks, predictions, and my bets. We broke this down last week, but there have been changes. A fight dropped, a fight was added, two people have new opponents. It's essentially an entirely new breakdown. But before I jump in, become a premium member. I scream this from the rooftop. We have many hundreds of members now, and all of them are getting early picks, early predictions, and early bets, which is very important because these bets are ahead of the line movement. And I'm going to talk through a few of them now, but already these lines have moved. So the bets that premium members have been seeing for a few weeks now for UFC Paris are ahead of the lines. We got very lucky with a few of them. Check it out now at WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. It's freaking $10 a month. That's it. $10 a month. If any of these bets hit, you've made some money and you've paid for years worth of membership. And we now have a DraftKings lineup building optimizer. What that does is it takes projected earnings, projected points scored. You say who you love, who you hate, and the optimizer does the rest. It builds you winning lineups anywhere from 1 to 150. That is included for free, or I guess included in the $10 a month membership. It's $10 a month. Don't be so cheap. That's $2.50 a week, and it gives you everything you need to make money watching these fights. And finally, if you want $50 for free, go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and I'll send you $50. I literally sent out about $1,500 yesterday. It always sucks doing that, but in the end, it works, and we're growing our community. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. I will send you $50. Interesting fight card. This is a new fight that was added. But quickly, yeah, I'm not bald. This is called product placement. Go buy some merch. Shop.WeWantPicks.com. Let's jump in. We got William Gomis taking on Jarno Errens. This is the new card opener, and it's kind of a contender series fight, right? Prospects that have never fought in the UFC before, but William Gomis, he's a very well-rounded prospect, and he's constantly working for a finish. He can knock you out, submit you, or just outwork you for a full 15 minutes. And it's hard to label him in any one specific style because he genuinely is good everywhere. He has solid Muay Thai striking and very opportunistic grappling where he will snatch things up in scrambles. The criticism on Gomis is that he can be low volume at times, and he looks to counter. If you come charging forward, he'll back up and then he'll counter. But if you wait, so will he, and you can end up in a staring contest. Jarno Errens is also a well-rounded prospect. He's got solid striking and solid takedowns when he needs them. Unlike Gomis, though, he's not a counter striker. He likes to come forward and dictate that striking pace. He does a very nice job working the body and the head, as well as mixing in kicks. He throws everything with power, which makes him dangerous, but it does also set him up to be taken down. And when I first saw this fight added, I was honestly annoyed, right? It just felt like they were just throwing random people together to fill out a card because that UFC Paris card was not looking good for a while there. And then I started to dig in, did my research, watch my film, and I'm realizing this is a really fun fight. Both guys are fun strikers who can grapple if needed. Both throw with intent. Both will be hungry for a UFC win. And stylistically, it's interesting because Gomis is more of a counter striker, and Errens likes to come forward, which plays directly into Gomis' strength. So I do think Gomis gets this done because of that counter striking, and he's got solid clinch work, but these odds are far too wide. Jarno is legit good, and if Gomis waits too long, Jarno could blast right through him. So Gomis is the pick, but guys, do not look at that betting line and then make a decision. I don't think he's necessarily a parlay piece, but I do think he gets it done because we got forward pressure versus counter striking, and the styles will be interesting to see how that plays out. And then we have the switcheroo. Ailin Perez now has a new opponent. She's taking on Stephanie Egger, and Stephanie Egger stepping up on short notice to get this fight. Stephanie Egger is a grappler. She's got solid power and judo takedowns. She marches forward and she looks to tie you up and work those takedowns from there. She will typically hold you against the cage or muscle you to the ground, use those judo trips. She's a decent striker as well, but her game plan is definitely to slow the pace and turn it into a grappling match. She's coming off an armbar loss to Mayra Bueno Silva, where she got taken down. Sorry, she got the takedown, but was armbarred from top. And then if you remember, she denied tapping. Ailin is another UFC debut who is a well-rounded prospect. And when she's striking, she's got a nice long jab and she uses it to plot forward and walk her opponents down. But she is mostly a grappler and she uses her size and strength to bully her opponents to the ground with trips and drags. Once she hits the ground, she's very measured and she works for control positions. Once she settles in, she'll work a submission or get you against that cage and work elbows. She does have the composure of a true veteran and hopefully is not going to freeze up in this fight, right? UFC debut in Paris, should be a big card. It's not the greatest card, but it should be a big card in theory. And we just got to make sure that even though she's composed on the regional scene, that carries over to this fight. She does have a loss on her record, but that was because of illegal strikes. So she is essentially undefeated. And I loved Ailin in her original matchup. I even had a money line bet on her, which breaks all the don't bet on women's MMA rules. But this matchup is very different. Ailin could absolutely out-grapple her last opponent. She was going to blow right through her. But that's going to be a little trickier here. Like, sure, Stephanie Egger has submission losses on her record, but it's not a skill gap, meaning it's not like she doesn't know what she's doing on the ground. It's more of missed scrambles. You don't just jab forward, take Stephanie down, and then submit her. In all likelihood, Stephanie's going to be the one who takes you down using her high-level judo, and then you're just hoping for a scramble where you can catch her with something. That's what happened with Bueno Silva. Stephanie got the takedown. Bueno came forward. Stephanie got the takedown, and then Bueno just threw up an armbar very quickly and caught that in a scramble. But 9 times out of 10, Stephanie Egger gets the takedowns, works those control positions. And I think she's going to do that here. I like her to get this win, but right now she is sitting at almost a 4-1 favorite, which is absolutely nuts. Ailin Perez is good. She can be a bully, and if she's the one getting the takedowns, which is hard to do against Stephanie, but if she's the one getting the takedowns, she can be on top, she can control, and she can win this fight. So I am going to pick Stephanie Egger here, but that's insane to bet her on money line. Those odds are stupid. If I do place a bet, which I may or may not, they are going to be on Ailin, and I could do the plus 3.5, which if you don't know what that is, that's buying a round on the judge's scorecard. You're buying 3.5 points. So all she needs to do is win one round. If she can win one round and then not get finished, I hit that bet. Those haven't dropped yet, those odds, but I may look at that. Or a win inside a distance decision, no action. Do I think Ailin Perez is tough enough to not get finished? If so, that bet is a no-brainer, because if she doesn't get finished, you get a refund. If she finishes Stephanie, you get paid. So we'll see what those odds are when those prop bets drop. They drop on Tuesdays. I'm filming this on Saturday, so it'll be a few days. Frankly, that's probably the side to bet here, those safety net bets. If you want to get one of those, the only place you can find those safety net bets, especially the buy a round on the judge's scorecard, is if you go to weonpicks.com/bets. We have 5 different betting partners. The one and only partner that offers that bet is BetOnline. If you use our links, sign up and make a deposit, I will send you $50 as a thank you. And then we have Khalid Taha taking on Cristian Quinonez. This is the other switcheroo. Khalid Taha originally had a different opponent. He has dropped, and now Cristian Quinonez is stepping up on short notice. Khalid Taha is a kickboxer with solid power, great speed, and a nice stance switching style. He comes forward and he's not afraid to engage. He's definitely a striker, but he can grapple when he needs to. He just doesn't have the takedowns to get it to the grappling. If you look at his record, he only has 1 win in his last 5, but he has not been given many favors. His last 3 fights were Sergey Morozov, Hani Barcelos, and he had a win over Bruno Silva, but that was overturned because of a USADA issue. Cristian Quinonez is a relentless grappler who never stops coming forward. His technique isn't the cleanest, but he just doesn't stop coming forward, and he'll make up for that poor technique with pace and pressure. He does a great job getting you to think that you're in a brawl. He's going to slug it out. And then right there, bang, he transitioned to double legs and takedowns, and then he turns it into a grappling match. The issue with Cristian, though, is that his pace can actually be too fast, so he doesn't settle in, meaning he'll create a scramble when he doesn't really need a scramble. So he'll shoot that double. He'll hit the ground. And instead of bang, hips down, settling in, working from there, he'll keep moving, keep coming forward, and now he's in a scramble. Now he's defending a submission when he's the one who got the takedown, and he should have settled instead of continuing to move forward. I do think I like Cristian here, though. He makes a lot of mistakes, but they're literally because he's fighting too hard and too fast, meaning his mistakes aren't that, like, for example, he's striking when he should wrestle or wrestle when he should. His mistakes are that his wrestling is too aggressive and he literally shoots through his opponents. And I think he can outwork and outpace Taha for a win. My only real concern here is that Cristian is hittable and Taha does have power. I do think, though, that the well-timed takedowns are going to keep him away from that power. So I like Cristian Quinonez to win this fight. He's a slight underdog now. I have not pulled the trigger on a moneyline bet. You know, UFC debut, short notice. Those are the things that, I mean, he did win on the Contender Series, but real UFC debut, short notice, those things always make me a little nervous, and you guys know I'm more of a conservative bettor, but I think he gets it done, and he is an underdog, so maybe something will happen this week. Then we've got Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Gabriel Miranda. And Benoit's a very good wrestler with very well-timed shots and a ton of pressure on top. He isn't a cage-grinding wrestler, though. He's an actual lower your level and attack the legs type of wrestler, which, as you know, I love to see. And when he gets it to the ground, he's got very good pressure, and he works for submissions as well. He's got a ton of power in his feet, which he brings with him to the ground, but he can be hittable. We have seen fights like against Zaleski where he can't keep it on the ground, and he gets worked on his feet when that happens. So he's coming off that win over Stoltzfus in June where he showcased his grappling with 3 takedowns and a submission in the second round. Gabriel Miranda is a slick grappler with his own nice takedowns. He's very much an old school BJJ guy, so he will work from position to position and look for submissions instead of just pounding away on top. The problem is that he can be submission or bust at times, and at this point in MMA, submissions are coming from scrambles, right? They're not plan A. They're there, you know, for you to snatch up if things start moving around. If you go do your own research on Gabriel Fly, that's his nickname, you're going to be hard-pressed to find footage of him really throwing any punches at all. He immediately starts diving at legs and looking to grapple. He's just so good and comfortable at BJJ that he's totally fine getting taken down and then looking for a reversal, looking for a sweep, and then fighting off of his back if it goes the other direction. And I love Benoit in this matchup. This is MMA, though. And he is the better MMA fighter. Obviously, Miranda's going to be stupid dangerous if he's controlling the ground exchanges, but I don't know if he can even get it there. Benoit's listed at having a 100% takedown defense. That is a bit hollow. He's only defended 4 takedowns in the UFC, and all of them were from Zaleski. So the real question isn't who's the better MMA fighter, because we know that's Benoit. The real question is, does Benoit know that he should not go to the ground? Because he might just start grappling out of instinct and then get himself submitted. So hopefully Benoit keeps his standing, puts on a show, and if it does end up on the ground, I'm hoping for a tight guard, lots of elbows to the face, don't create a scramble. So Benoit Denis is the pick. No bets on this fight at this point. I'm just going to see what happens when all of the props drop. Then we got Nassourdine Imavov, and he's taking on Joaquin Buckley. I get it. Nassourdine's a big favorite in this fight, and a lot of you were in the comments of last week's video saying that he's a lock. I do see this fight a little differently. And Nassourdine, he does have very good cardio. He pairs that with very good grappling. He can strike and counter-strike, which means he should be okay with the forward movement of Buckley. I would say he's more of a grappler, but he has showcased his striking and those improvements, most recently against Ian Heinisch last year. He has a nice jab, solid elbows, and he looks very comfortable mixing it up. He's coming off that grappling win over Edmund Shabazian, where he didn't get any takedowns, but he was still able to take over, control, and finish on the ground. Joaquin Buckley's a powerful striker, and we've mentioned this many times before. He's going to go down as having the greatest knockout in UFC history. I think it's going to be hard for somebody to top that. He's a short, thick guy with big power, and he just comes in hot. He has good forward movement and really improved on working angles. He comes at you straight on with speed and power, and then he does a great job ripping the body and working to the head. We all know he has big power, but ever since that DiCirico loss, he's gotten more comfortable not chasing knockouts, right? We've seen him take his time, work, and if the knockout comes, it comes, but he's not headhunting. We've even seen him work in takedowns, like the 5 he got against Razak Al Hassan. Listen, you guys disagree with this pick. You made that very clear, but I do like Buckley here. And even though he's a good grappler, Imavov doesn't really have those takedowns, or he doesn't use those takedowns. And I imagine Buckley isn't going to shoot any. So that leaves us with a kickboxing match. And while Imavov obviously is a solid striker with decent power, Buckley is faster, more powerful, and far more dangerous. And obviously, if history tells us anything, it's that this fight is not going to go to a decision. So while Buckley is the lean for my pick, the bet will be under on rounds, even though the round line's 1.5. That should still be okay, but fight does not go the distance is worth some solid money there. Buckley is going to get an early KO or potentially submitted later. If you think Buckley is not going to be stopped, then by far the best bet you can place is wins inside the distance, decision, no action. Because he is a sizable underdog. You'll get some good odds there. So if you think Buckley either wins or does not get finished here, then win inside the distance, decision, no action is the way to go. If he knocks out Nassourdine Imavov, you'll get paid. If he loses a decision, you'll get a refund. So definitely check that bet out if that's the way you think this goes. But the round is 1.5. The under is the favorite here. That's probably what ends up happening. But I do like Buckley as an underdog in this spot. If you like that bet, WeWantPicks.com/bets. BetOnline is the only one that offers it. Sign up, make a deposit. I'll send you 50 smackaroos. And that takes us to Firas Ziam taking on Michal Figlak. Firas Ziam's a long, rangy striker who also works well in the clinch. He manages range with solid leg kicks, and if he works to a clinch, he's got those solid elbows. He's a technical fighter, and he does avoid risks. He picks his shots well and only engages when he sees an opportunity, meaning he's got no issue waiting on the outside for the perfect time to come in and mix it up before quickly working back out of range. He takes his time and he looks to point his way to victory. Michal Figlak is a powerful striker, solid grappler, and he has that aggressive style. He's always plodding forward and he controls the middle of the cage really well. He can be hittable, but it doesn't stop him from pressuring forward. He has very good wrestling, but he does use it defensively more than anything. When he does take shots, they are clean doubles with head on the outside. All around, Figlak is a very skilled guy, but he is hittable. I expect Ziam to be the better striker in this matchup. Right? He's not going to have any of the power of Figlak, but he will have the technical advantage. Figlak manages the middle of the cage well, but that does play into what Ziam wants to do. He likes to stay on the outside, right? Pick those shots. So if Ziam had power, he would absolutely be the pick, but he doesn't. So he's not really a threat to get a stoppage or do anything on his feet other than pot shot his way to a decision. So I think Figlak is going to miss with the power, probably get touched up a little bit with some jabs, and then he's going to transition to his wrestling. So I see Figlak winning a decision, but if he does not transition to that wrestling, he can be outstruck, jabbed at for 15 minutes. But I think he goes to the wrestling. I think he gets it done. Figlak is the pick. No bets on this fight. Then we've got Dustin Stoltzfus taking on Magomedov. I'm not even going to attempt the complete first name. We're calling him Abus. Dustin Stoltzfus is a busy striker with very good power. He's got a BJJ black belt. He's got, actually, technically it's a BJJ brown belt, and then he's got a black belt in another grappling martial art. He's a very accommodated fighter with belts and accolades in multiple martial arts. He's solid off his back, but that's not what he's looking for. He did just snap a 3-fight skid 2 weeks ago with a close win over Dwight Grant. He landed twice as many strikes in that fight, but was really only able to get the win because of a pair of well-timed takedowns with control. Magomedov is a powerful and versatile striker with wrestling as a backup plan. He has very sneaky power because it never looks like he's throwing big shots, but when he connects, people are put down. He's a long striker who does a great job using that length to counter and keep people on the end of his strikes. He will throw everything from tight hooks to head kicks, and even though he can be hittable, he recognizes if he's on the wrong end of an exchange, and he quickly shoots those doubles. He is a genuine prospect, but this is a very real test for him. It's an interesting matchup because outside of the UFC, Abus has looked great. He's dropping opponents. He's taking them down. He's making it all look effortless. But how many times have we seen people in this exact same situation? They come into the UFC and they're just not able to find that same success. Dustin has 3 losses in the UFC, but as we've said in other breakdowns, those are quality losses to specialists. All 3 of them were to top-notch grapplers. And while Abus can wrestle and he can grapple, he's not Rodolfo Vieira. I think Dustin can get this done. I think it might look like the Grant fight where he doesn't have a ton of success on his feet, but he does have some, and ultimately he uses takedowns to control for the win. Abus is almost a 3-1 favorite. I totally understand why. I do think there's something to be said, though, about UFC level of competition. This pick is such a toss-up. It's such a toss-up. And maybe I'm over-analyzing this fight. Maybe it's as simple as like, Dustin's got some sketchy losses. But I think the other side of this is Abus has some sketchy wins. Not the highest level of competition. And while he's a well-rounded guy, he just hasn't fought this level. So I am gonna do a slight lean here for Dustin. This is a very low confidence pick. I'm not yelling, screaming, chanting from the rooftops that Dustin is my lock of the week like Jacob does. But I do think Dustin can get this done, and I think it all comes down to high-level experience. Then we have the king of entertainment, Charles Jourdain, and he's taking on Nathaniel Wood. Charles Jourdain is a fun come-forward striker who's got a great chin. He's incredibly fast, has great timing, and he is willing to take chances with spinning and flying attacks. He's coming off a grappling loss to Shane Burgos, where he showed just how incredibly tough and well-conditioned he is. He was taken down twice, but he did give up 6.5 minutes of control time, but he never stopped coming forward with 100% effort, and he ended up landing 100 more strikes than Shane in a decision loss. So think about that. He spent 6.5 minutes of a 15-minute fight on his back, and he still landed 100 more strikes. That tells you everything you need to know about Charles Jourdain. And despite a handful of attempts, he does have 0 takedowns in his UFC career. Nathaniel Wood is a good striker with solid power and great dirty boxing, but he can grapple as well. Check out his UFC debut where he sunk in a beautiful Darce after losing most of those striking exchanges. He has slick upper body takedowns and great control on the ground. I love his volume of more than 6 significant strikes per minute, combined with his 76% takedown defense. He lets his hands fly with confidence that he won't be taken down. He's coming off that win over Charles Rosa where he had 2 10-8 rounds, but he still could not get that finish. It's an awesome fight, and I'm thankful they put this on here. Both of these guys are very exciting strikers. I think Wood will have the raw power advantage, but Jourdain will have more success. I think Wood will be on the wrong side of some exchanges and then look to grapple like Shane did, but I don't think he's going to have that same success, right? Nathaniel Wood is awesome and can absolutely win this fight, but how could I not pick Charles Jourdain? Over the last year, he seems to have settled in and gotten very comfortable with his style, but I fully recognize he is only 4-5 in the UFC, and he does have several grappling losses like to Desmond Green, Andre Fili, Julian Erosa, and now Shane Burgos. Nathaniel has the striking and the grappling to get this done, but nothing can prepare you for the pressure and cardio of Charles Jourdain. So Jourdain is the pick. I am worrying myself with how confident I am in him. I do have a money line bet on him. This line actually has not moved, right? We've got 4 money line bets on this card. The lines have all moved in our favor for every single one of them, except this one. Didn't move against us, didn't move for us. The line has remained at the minus 140 range. Then we've got Nasrat Haqparast taking on John Makdessi. Nasrat Haqparast is a very good striker who has found himself on a 2-fight losing skid. The first loss was to Dan Hooker, where he had no answer for the wrestling, and the second was to Bobby Green, where he had no answer for the volume. But if you ignore those losses, you'll see that he's also a high-volume striker who lands more than 5 significant strikes per minute with a very good 78% takedown defense. When he can push the pace and find a rhythm, he's a very hard guy to beat. Nasrat's a good, powerful striker. John Makdessi is also a volume striker with solid takedown defense. He is almost a mirror image of Nasrat stylistically, but their striking styles are a bit different, meaning they're both come-forward, exciting strikers, But John Makdessi does it a little differently. John's more technical, and he relies on his pace. He likes to start the exchanges with his hands and then end them with low kicks. He's shorter, and he's compact, and his movement is everything. And if you can take out his legs, though, you can have a lot of success. Without his movement, he doesn't have much there. On its surface, this matchup is essentially power versus technique, but Nasrat is more than just raw power. A lot of his power does come from well-timed counters and surprising speed. If Makdessi was more active than one fight a year, I think he'd be a very live underdog here, but I think age and inactivity are going to keep him a step behind the much younger, faster, and more powerful Haqparast. It's possible Nasrat gasses and gives up a round, but I think Nasrat's a solid play. I have him winning this fight, and lately we have seen quite a few underdogs get this done, but I still think Nasrat's going to win this fight. I think he gets it done. I got a money line bet on Nasrat. This line has also moved in our favor. So if you are a premium member, you saw this bet almost 2 weeks ago, and you got it at much better odds than you're going to get it today. And that's why you need to become a premium member. It's freaking $10 a month. Don't be a cheap bastard. $10 a month. All of our bets, the minute we place them, sometimes weeks or months in advance. And 9 out of 10 times, we are ahead of the line movement. This is one of those times. So become a member. Go to weonpicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. It's $10 a month. It's $2.50 a week. That is nothing to get ahead of these lines, get our picks early, get our insight early. Again, don't be a cheap bastard. It's not a good look. Women don't like cheap bastards. Don't be one. Then we've got Alessio Di Chirico taking on Roman Kopylov. Alessio Di Chirico is a solid kickboxer with really nice high kicks and versatility. He's got good forward pressure and a versatile striking style that helps keep his opponents guessing. He doesn't go to it often, but he does have wrestling in his back pocket. He has 11 takedowns in 10 UFC fights, and 2 of those were against Kevin Holland, and 4 of them were against Julian Marquez. Roman Kopylov is also a good kickboxer who's had some success in the kickboxing world. He's a low output guy who picks his shots, and he tends to throw one strike at a time until he settles in, and then he weaves together nice combinations. In both of his UFC losses, he was taken down with no answer on the ground and couldn't work his way back up. Roman's striking is legit good, and he has very real power. This fight's still essentially a pick-em on paper, and I agree with that. Both men are solid strikers with power, but low output. Roman is the more technical striker from a pure kickboxing perspective, but I think Alessio is the better MMA fighter. He has a wrestling backup plan and far more experience. Roman has yet to find a win in the UFC, and if you dig into his regional fights, you'll see that his record's a bit hollow. I think Alessio finds his 5th UFC win, most likely a decision here. And then we have our co-main event. This is a very good co-main event. Very good co-main event. The card's kind of a dumpster fire, but this is a solid co-main event. The main event's pretty solid too. We got Robert Whittaker taking on Marvin Vettori in a battle of top 3 middleweights. Robert Whittaker's a very diverse striker. He's got a really good volume and incredibly active style. He's constantly mixing up his striking and movement patterns. He'll lay out a really heavy leg kicks and then immediately charge forward and chase the head. His only losses since 2014 are to Israel Adesanya, and their rematch was incredibly close. A lot of people think he won that fight. After the first loss to Izzy, Whittaker took almost a year off, and then he came back looking like a completely different fighter. He dismantled Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, and Kevin Gastelum. What is interesting about those fights, though, is while Robert kept his aggressive striking, he also seemed more measured, and he absolutely worked in more takedowns. His first 14 UFC fights, he had 4 takedowns total. 4 takedowns total in 14 fights. In his last 4 fights, he's got 10 takedowns. So he's really added grappling to his arsenal here. And Marvin Vettori is a brick-headed grappler who has become of a striker as of late. He's got a good set of diverse takedowns from body locks to nice hit-and-run doubles. His striking does continue to improve, and he's gotten very comfortable on his feet. And that's obviously a good thing, but it can also be a problem, right? If he's got false confidence standing and he gets sucked into kickboxing matches, well, then he can be outstruck. He was outstruck by Paulo Costa 214 to 172, and he only attempted 1 takedown. But Whittaker is not Costa, and Marvin is going to need to grapple here, which is easier said than done. Matching up against Whittaker's 83% takedown defense is Marvin's less than 50% takedown accuracy. He does average over 2 takedowns per fight, but he has struggled in the past with keeping people there. The only person to ever take Whittaker down more than once was Yoel Romero, and he lost those fights. Whittaker is an easy pick here. He's going to be faster, have the far cleaner striking. He has 5-round cardio, and he's only going to need to use 3 rounds of it. Vettori is almost impossible to put down with strikes because he's got that Lego head. I do see Whittaker having no issues, lighten him up on his feet, but he's not going to put him away. This will be a decision win. You could probably bet Robert Whittaker by decision. If Marvin can get his wrestling going, he may have some success, but I just don't see that happening. Whittaker is the pick. I got a money line bet on him at minus 235. He is now well into the minus 300s. And again, if you are a premium member, you would have seen that bet 2 weeks ago when we placed it. Become a premium member. WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click Become a Member. We have many, many, many hundreds of members now, and every single one of them is getting these lines, getting them early, and having some success with our bets, with our props, and with our daily fantasy optimizer. If you do DraftKings, we've got an optimizer for you. It's $10 a month. $2.50 a week. For F's sake. Become a member. WeOwnPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Main event. We've got Ciryl Gane taking on Tuivasa. And I've seen the comments section. Some of you were like, Gane wins guarantee, and a lot of you were like, Tai Tuivasa, my underdog, Tai Tuivasa. So I get it. Dude has hands, but let's go ahead and break this down. Ciryl Gane is a technical striker who has high volume and a well-rounded arsenal. He's going to kick, he'll grapple, and he'll play the best in-and-out game in heavyweight history. His striking differential is a very impressive 5-2, which means he hits his opponents almost 5 times for every 2 that he takes, which just speaks to how incredible his foot movement and his footwork really is. He also used that footwork to set up takedowns. He took down Dontel Mays 3 times, Rosenstruck twice, and Ngannou once. The Ngannou fight was interesting because Ciryl landed more strikes, and he did have success on his feet, but he had no answer for the wrestling, and he did struggle to get off of his back. Tai Tuivasa is a heavy-handed striker, but he has solid volume, and he mixes in kicks really well. He has always been fast and powerful for his size, but he's much sharper and much more composed recently. Tuivasa has fantastic leg kicks, a piercing jab, and a big overhand. His takedown defense is just okay at 50%, and he has 0 offensive takedowns in the UFC. You could argue that Tuivasa's biggest asset is his chin. He's got a cement head, and he's not a guy that you can easily knock out, but we have seen a few cracks recently with big power from Hardy and Lewis seemingly getting Tai Tuivasa, I don't want to say rocked, but he felt those. We don't need to overcomplicate this. Tuivasa is going to be live for the one-punch knockout, as he always is, but in all likelihood, Gane's not going to be there to hit. Dancing around, showcasing his footwork. He's going to have Tuivasa swinging at air. I expect Gane to work in takedowns the same way he did against other powerful strikers. This is likely a technical one-sided clinic. Obviously, anything can happen. Ciryl Gane is absolutely the pick here. I imagine these odds are going to balloon up over time. If you think Tai Tuivasa wins this fight, then you need to do the Tai Tuivasa wins by knockout. You'll get plus 500 on that right now. He's only plus 400 to win money line. He's not going to win a decision. So Ciryl Gane's absolutely the pick. I was hoping that I could come in here and tell you guys, oh, bet the Bet Online takedown prop. But they're ahead of us. It's minus 700 on Ciryl. I was going to say, oh, bet the Bet Online significant strike prop. They're ahead of us. It's minus 600 on Ciryl. So no prop bets there, but Ciryl Gane is going to win this fight. The only reason I haven't placed a win inside the distance decision, no action on Tai Tuivasa is he might get stopped. Ciryl Gane could get the takedowns and elbow sandwich his way to a TKO. So, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do betting-wise. For now, I'm going to leave this alone. But, guys, become a premium member. WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. It's only $10. Frankly, the amount of value that we're giving you is insane. You will not find a better $10 value on this planet. There's a lot of people offering Patreons. There's a lot of people Oh, I'm up 250 million units. No, you're not. $38 a month, you can get my bets. It's all bullshit. $10 a month. Not only are you getting our bets, you're getting them early. We are doing our picks on round lines. I'm giving you all of my raw notes. I'm giving you prize pick plays as soon as they drop before those lines move. And we are giving you tools, a daily fantasy optimizer, all for $10 a month. And we're giving you DraftKings ownership projections, all for $10 a month. You will not find anybody else on this planet that is giving you all of that for $10 a month. And we're never going to touch that price point, because while everybody else wants to charge $50, $60 and get greedy as hell, I'm playing the volume game. I want tens of thousands of members, and I'm going to keep that price at $10. I'm the Costco, baby. Volume, bulk, WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member at the top. We will see you this week. It's nice to get back into a rhythm. Let us know your picks and plays below, and join our free Discord. The link is in the description. I'll see you guys later this week.